welcome to episode 90 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, a place for all you nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. My name is Alex, I'm a self-appointed baroness of bots. I'm also the host of this episode yet again. What on earth is happening? I don't know. I'm here leading the show. It's going terribly wrong, or it will eventually. Anyway, with me is, as always, is jolly jubilant juggernaut of Joe.
Hello!
Hello! How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing alright, yeah.
There's no big movies coming out this week. I feel like almost
I
at
know,
close. What
yeah.
have you done with your Wednesday?
Well, I was in London this week, which we will get to later. But yeah, I was annoyed because Colossal is not showing near me anywhere.
Really?
I cannot find it.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's being advertised all over the place, but no bloody cinema is showing it. So what the... So there's that.
And also, because as we're missing our regular Lauren, we have a wonderful guest. And here's what you can see some pattern behind our alliteration naming, because it's jubilantly jocular James. Hey, James.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm thrilled to be back.
Yeah.
You sounded super thrilled just then.
It's gonna be great. Let's go.
Yay. Wait, let me just have a sip of this alcohol to bring me up to speed.
I have water. See, I just, well, I'm old now. I can't drink anymore.
I haven't got anything.
You guys are not prepared for this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have no wine. I need to get some.
Well, you're free off this Sunday because we're not actually streaming this Sunday. I don't know where we're discussing this on a podcast, but you're free off this Sunday because we're not streaming this Sunday, so you don't have to buy wine for the Sunday.
Oh, I think it's because Joe and I are very vocal in the chat of cooking and booze.
Oh, I shall miss it. I won't know what to do with myself.
For a week.
Then
Just watch a
back.
film. It's about the same length.
True. Or just go to bed.
Watch one of the Resident Evil films. It's people being as bad at Resident Evil.
True.
Yeah, but hopefully less entertaining. Hopefully we're a tad bit more entertaining than that.
Well, this is the thing. I don't really need to watch them ever again after your incredible journey through the stories of Resident Evil last week.
Oh my god. I'm actually really surprised that this received a really positive feedback from everyone who's listened to the episode. Like, if there's someone who hated that segment out there, they have not come up and told it to me, because so far everything that I said, this was great, and do more, and I'm like, what? And someone even suggested me you should start the whole YouTube channel just for telling the movies, and I was like, dude, I'm not that funny. Like, no. I wish I was that funny, but I'm not.
It was good. We enjoyed it.
Anyway, now
Twas
onto
good
our
fun.
show. We're going to start with the Time Waster of the Week. And the Time Waster of the Week this week is from Unflushable, our dear friend, who suggested the YouTube channel called Real Life Lore. And what Real Life Lore YouTube channel essentially is, it's a clever version of those kind of infographics that you get. And they do really kind of well statistically backed videos that answer a variety of different questions. The one that I watched just before we aired the episode, it entertained me quite a bit, was called How Far Can You Get From Everybody Else? And why I found it really funny is because apparently in Antarctica there is a spot that the first time it was reached by the Soviets in 1958. And Soviets, being Soviets, obviously, they reached that spot and they went, yay, let's plop the statue of Lenin in there. So they left the statue of Lenin in the middle of just snow and left. Just Lenin standing in the snow.
Nice.
And there's nothing else for kilometers, like, away and away. It's just so ridiculous. Like, yeah, sure, dictatorship mindset, that can only happen. But they have other videos, is like, how big do tornadoes get? What will happen in the next billion of years? What if every human born came back to life?
Oh my god. What if every human did come back to life?
Well, you have to watch that video.
That is pretty scary though. I mean, we're already massively overpopulated, so if everyone came back to life, oh my god.
Yeah,
That's quite scary.
It would probably be instant death for everyone.
Yeah,
There's just so
probably,
many people.
But I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch that video, it just surprises me. Literally, I guess we're spoiled by how much space we have. Because it was talking about some slums, for example, in India, where in like 2 kilometers area, there've been 1,000 people that just live
my
there
word.
all the time. I mean, obviously, they're not great conditions, but somehow they still managed to live in those slums. And there's like did they say 700,000 people basically lived in the area that would be slightly bigger than 3 American football courts.
Yeah, that's pretty serious. Like,
I just like Alex's complete misunderstanding of sport.
American football court.
The American football court.
Why not?
Bitch,
it could be fun. It could be like a crossover.
What is it called?
Stadium.
Stadium. Pitch.
A stadium. Oh, well, like the actual like where they play the game.
Yeah.
I guess they'd probably say a pitch, wouldn't
okay,
they?
thank you.
We're not sporty people, James.
I know, but
We're
it just made me. I know, it just made me laugh.
people don't come here for sport. It's fine.
Wait, are we not talking about Chelsea's amazing win over the weekend?
Please no.
I mean, I say I support Chelsea just to piss my husband off. And
does he support Fulham?
No, I don't think he actually pissed him off, but I think of Chelsea as such a kind of Russian team because it's owned by a Russian oligarch.
This is too much football talk.
Anyway, he supports Spurs, but yeah. Anyway, I like making fun of him, but I never really watch football. I know they kick a ball sometimes. Back to the real life lore. Anyway, it's a really cool channel that Unflushable suggested, so thank you, Unflushable. And it has some cool stuff, as I have learned. And maybe next time I'll even know the difference between the pitch and the court.
There's not a lot of difference. One's bigger. That's it.
Okay, well then I'm glad you pointed it out to me.
Weirdly, they're both verbs that mean completely different things.
Huh.
Yes. There you
go.
I think you should start your own YouTube channel pointing out this fascinating differences.
About verbs.
Yeah.
Weird things that also mean different things in a different context.
Yeah.
I bet that exists.
If ASMR can become as popular as it is, surely this can.
Okay, on to the main topics of our show, and we're gonna start with Joe and James, who've played What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah, I'm gonna let James lead with this. So, James, tell us all about What Remains of Edith Finch.
What Remains of Edith Finch? We will call it Edith Finch from now on because that name is too long.
Yeah, it is.
Just call it Finchy.
Finchy!
No,
Finchy.
that is a different podcast. Edith Finch is a game created by the developers Giant Sparrow. You may know their previous game, The Unfinished Swan. It was one of my favourite games of all time. I really mean that. I got it for free in PS Plus in the same month as Ether 1, which is also really good, and Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, so it was the best month for me ever.
It's probably the best month of PS Plus, just period. What the hell happened?
It's pretty good.
No, stunning, because it was the week of E3 as well, so they really tied it in well.
I mean, I guess like another good PS Plus week was Rocket League week. We can never discount Rocket League week. But yeah, PS Plus, awesome.
Yes, so Unfinished One came to me on PS Plus, so I played it and fell in love with this very unique game mechanic that I'd never seen before, and this storytelling through this very, very linear and narrative way, but still kept you interested and didn't feel like an interactive movie, for instance. Edith Finch takes a backseat on the gameplay aspect and more focus on the narrative, but in very specific ways. So the story of Edith Finch is the Finch family, as they know them, moved from Norway to America in, I want to say, like the early 1900s, and they built this house that every time a family member died, they would completely seal off that room, no one was ever to go in it, and then they would add a tombstone to the graveyard, which is one of the more interesting places in the game that you visit. And you play as Edith Finch, a 17-year-old, the last remaining member of the Finch family. And in your mother's will, you get sent a key, and you go back to your family home, which you find really, really creepy. She even says at one point, "I finally figured out why I didn't like the house. It's because it terrified me."
I remember she at one point says it was always sort of put her off, kind of like it was a smile with too many teeth.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite an interesting way of describing the house, and it totally fits.
Yeah, that's actually a beautiful metaphor, am I saying? Yeah, because it's like... Yeah, because you always think teeth are quite scary, and then there's a smile, which is usually kind of something nice.
Yeah, it's just quite an unsettling mental image, isn't it? And, you know, when you play the game, you could this house definitely has that sort of air about it, of being kind of friendly, but in an unsettling and slightly off-kilter way. Like
Tom Cruise's middle tooth.
Yeah, but he did have that fixed.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not going to get past that. So... you have the key, and you go open to the front door. Naturally, makes sense. Key opens front door.
No spoilers, James. No spoilers. No spoilers.
This is the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but come on, no spoilers.
I'm just saying that the key doesn't open the front door. I'm not going to say what it opens.
Okay. But
okay, so you have to find your way inside, and then you find that there's passageways that go through individual rooms, and so it's a nice way for the game developers to go, oh, this is the way that we want you to go in this story, but it still feels entirely natural. What proceeds is when you go into each of the rooms, you get a little note about the people that lived in those rooms, members of the Finch family, and it turns from just simple dialogue into you flash forward and you're playing as them. Sorry, flash back, I mean. And then every single story is told in a different way, either via a different gameplay mechanic, a different visual aesthetic. Some are told... It's just so brilliantly done. And I would love to go into detail about each individual one, which I absolutely won't, because it is such a great discovery when you figure out what's going on. Wouldn't you agree, Jo?
Yeah, that's the magic of the game. That was certainly one thing that I found when I played it, was that the joy in that game is in the discovery and in when you realise how each story is being told, and just that exploration and completing each little separate distinct story was just so clever and unique in their own way and really enjoyable. So yeah, that's what kind of, for me, puts this game above a similar title such as Gone Home, for example. I feel that this is superior to that because it kind of takes that sort of narrative storytelling structure but adds upon it and makes it much more lyrical and just more engaging, really.
Yeah, a weird piece of criticism, not criticism, but comparison between Gone Home and this is Gone Home is more of a game, if that makes any sense. It encourages you to look at a map and figure out the quickest route to do things, and you have to go find things. Whereas Edith Finch, it just tells you everything when you need to know it and what you need to know, and then you just do it. It's so simple in the way it does things, but they're so brilliantly done, you don't care. And it makes you... And the sections when you go to each of the family members, you start to feel what they were feeling. I'm not going to say how or why, but at one point you play as a baby. I'm just going to say that. If you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly that you feel everything that baby feels in that segment.
Yeah. I've played a demo of this game. I don't remember. It was either at EGX or one of the EGX Res, but one of them. And I played the level of one of the younger sister who gets really hungry in her room.
Yeah,
that is the first one.
Yeah, that's the first story you play.
I had a sense of feeling that was one of the earlier sequences. And it struck me as on a more bizarre side, but I always do... I do love what I guess is referred to walking simulators, but people kind of throw walking simulator as a bad thing, as a negative. Whereas I really think this term is not negative at all to me. If someone says to me this game is a walking simulator, I go, okay, can I play it? Because I think there's, especially now, I think this kind of type of genre of games is a bit on the rise. And I mean, Firewatch would be forever one of my top games.
Yeah, Firewatch is amazing.
It was really, really good. And then I've also played Virginia, which is in the same ballpark kind of as well. It's not really... You don't really play... There's no gameplay in Virginia. You walk around and you experience the story. And to me, that game... I don't mind that aspect of the game. I'm just happy to walk around and see things happening to me. And Virginia, there's a lot of very interesting things that are happening in Virginia. But what I didn't like in Virginia was actually a really plot turning point. I thought it was a bit out of the blue, but that's just another story. But that's why I'm kind of really looking to playing What Remains of Edith Finch. I actually do really, really want to get it. Just being busy right now at the moment and finances and stuff don't permit me to get it, but as soon as that changes, I'm getting What Remains of Edith Finch.
I definitely think you'd like it for sure. I mean, it's interesting what you say about walking simulators because people do throw that out there like some sort of insult. But to me, when someone calls a game a walking simulator, I'm like, great, sign me up. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture was one of my favourite games the year it came out.
Yeah.
And
Same
to
here.
me, it's a good thing to be able to just have a walk around and get involved in a story and just like get lost in a world like that. That's, you're not having to constantly shoot things, or there's not something jumping out trying to kill you. It's just about exploring a story. And you know what? We need more games like that, more experiences like that. And so things like this, like Edith Finch, Gone Home, What Remains, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, just more and more of those, please.
Yeah, but it's just a term that's actually really, really... well, this doesn't really frustrate me, but it causes a little bit of understanding, because I use it in a very positive way, but a lot of people use it in a very negative way. And I remember we went to kind of one of the preview sessions, and we were playing from Dear Esther, which is just absolutely... Dear Esther?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that correct, yeah. Which
Yep.
is absolutely stunning game. Just beautiful throughout, and like really... a really interesting experience to go through. And we sat there and we basically played for the whole game on a demo. But when I sat there, when I sat to play the game, the developer was in the room, and I said, "Oh right, this is one of the walking simulators." And the person who was with me thought I was talking about it negatively, but whereas I meant it in a completely positive way. And you know, there becomes this very weird misunderstanding of the terms or of the meanings, because it's just used interchangeably. And I'm really one of those people that just want to push it like in a very positive way, because I think those games have a lot of value to it. And I mean, it's arguably what is gameplay and what is not, and it's a whole different discussion that we can go into at some point. But again, just such amazing experiences. Firewatch, I've pretty much told every single person that I've met to play Firewatch, and
as they should.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on that train too.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the people that I know started working for Campo Santo, and I've never geeked out over a person ever, like, in my life. When he told me he's gone to work for Campo Santo, I was like, oh my god!
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I went absolutely crazy. Like, he's an
Wait,
amazing
Alex,
person.
Does this person's name start with A?
Possibly?
So you know Aubrey too?
Yes.
Okay.
We are talking about the same person, yes.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
he's a lovely man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's absolutely lovely, and it's a great opportunity. I was so happy that he got it. And yeah, when he told me that he is going to work for them, I was over the moon, because I love Firewatch. And anyway, that's besides the point. All I'm saying, walking simulator is a weird term, and I think more people should speak of it in a more positive way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So What Remains of Edith Finch, it's easy. That and Resi 7 are straight away into my top 5 for Game of the Year. I'm ready to put 3 others there, but those 2 are straight away in there.
Yeah, I'm the same. They're definitely in mine.
Man, it's the beginning of a year, and there's a lot of strong Game of the Year contenders already.
Oh, it's been a hell of a year already. I mean, you know, you think what we've had. We've had Resident Evil 7, Edith Finch, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Mass Effect.
You know, it's just, I think my top 5 this year is going to be a little bit tight.
Yeah.
And we still have Red Dead Redemption to come out. And many others.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey.
November is going to be unbelievable in terms of busyness and playing things and trying to make lists.
But hey, that's absolutely a good thing.
First world problems.
I know. More awesome video games, please. The beginning of the year was amazing.
It's so traumatic for us. It really is.
Okay, so What Remains of Edith Finch, definitely recommend from the both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to playing it when I get time. It is on my list. Okay, Joe, speaking of that time when you went to London.
Yeah, so speaking of that time I went to London. So yes, I don't live in London, dear listeners. I live about an hour and a half away.
Spoilers!
And for a couple of... I have spoilers! I didn't say exactly where, though. That's secret. So it was my birthday this week. So
Happy
for
birthday,
a couple
Joe! Belatedly.
Thanks! So for a couple of days, my fella and I went to London just to have a wander around the museums, do a few touristy things and stuff. And one of the things that he actually wanted to do, but I wasn't originally so keen because I've done it before, was Madame Tussauds.
By the way, Madame Tussauds is just opposite my university, so I pass it pretty much every bloody week.
Yes, on Baker Street.
And I'm like, argh! Anyway. moving on.
But yeah, so I went a few years ago and it was fine. It was kind of all right. But at the time, I didn't really think it was kind of worth the money. And it was it seemed a little bit lackluster to me. But oh my, they've definitely added some things and improved some things and made it a lot more interesting. So one of the reasons that I was quite keen to go after I started researching it a bit more once he'd said he wanted to go was they've got a giant Kong head right now.
All right.
Which I think was installed when the film was out to kind of help promote the film, and it's still there, and it's just a giant animatronic King Kong head, and it's great.
Does it move? Does it do anything?
Yeah, so the head itself doesn't pivot or move or anything like that because obviously it's ginormous. It's essentially, I think I read somewhere that it's like 5,000 Oyster cards stacked inside.
It's a very London-like comparison. May I just say?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why it stuck in my mind when I read it. But what it does do, and it's kind of like surrounded by palm leaves and forestry and stuff like that, and they've got sound effects going on and all this kind of cool like scenery and things from the film, and its eyes move, and it looks around, and its mouth moves, and it roars and snarls and stuff, and it's really quite lifelike and quite well done. And it was funny because like people would sit in front of it like posing, having their picture taken, and then it would roar at them and everyone would freak out. so it was really
right.
entertaining.
Selfies are the bane of modern humanity.
Yeah, of course. So they got that it deserved. Kong apparently does not like selfies. But so it was. I just thought that was really cool, and it sort of it made the experience a lot more sort of interesting for me. But the best thing at Madame Tussauds was the Sherlock Holmes live experience thing that they do. It's an extra £5 to do it, which we had a buy one get one free ticket for entry, so we kind of thought, yeah, an extra £5 each, that's okay, that's not too much extra. So we did this thing, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's one of those sort of live theatre experience things. So you go in and it's all dressed up like Victorian era, Sherlock Holmes London and stuff, and you go into the parlour of 221B Baker Street, and Mrs. Hudson lets you in, and there's like an actress, and she's performing as Mrs. Hudson, and it's really kind of fun, and she gets everyone involved. And usually I would kind of cringe at something like this, but she sold it immediately, and you were immediately sort of transported there, and it was really cool. And she had like the story of it was that Sherlock Holmes had gone missing, and we had to help find him.
Dun, dun,
and
dun,
there was
dun.
a clue. I know. Da da da. There was a clue that had been delivered to the house, and she was like, I have this very important clue, and she gave it to me because she obviously saw that I was well into it. I was like, yeah. And she came over and she says, will you look after this clue and pass it on to Dr. Watson when you see him? And I was like, yeah. So then I had the clue.
Yeah, where's that Dr. Watson?
Yeah. And I felt super special and super important, and it was really cool. So I held it on to this clue.
Basically, I'm guessing there were no kids in that crowd.
No,
and she found
youngest...
the smallest human out there.
I think there were people younger than me, definitely,
but not tinier than you.
No, I was probably the smallest, yes. But I think it was more that she could see that I was totally up for doing it, and I was responsive and kind of well into what was happening. Because some of the others were doing like the typical British thing of being like, oh, stiff upper lip, what is this awkwardness, what's happening?
Very quickly before you go on, I need to get something, because I haven't met you in person, only online. I've met Alex. Are you taller than Alex?
No, I am not.
Oh, really?
She's the tiniest.
I am tiny. Yes, I'm like, I used to think I was 4'11.5", but we were at the War Museum in London as well, and they have a measuring thing for when you would, basically it was a representation of how men would be measured to see if they were tall enough to go into the army for the war. And according to that, I'm 5'1", so I don't know. Maybe it's just because I had shoes on and I'm not that tall, but
so I'm a foot taller than you.
Yeah, most people are quite considerably taller than me.
That's
I'm
crazy.
nearly always the shortest in most situations. But, that's fine.
Yeah.
I've made my peace with it. It's all good.
I mean, I'm the tallest out of Lauren and Joe. Yeah.
And you're not even really that tall.
No, not really. No, absolutely not tall. I'm like 5.4 or something.
Yeah. No, yeah, I am a midget, really. I am tiny. Yes, so where was I? Yeah, so we went through, and I think she gave me this clue because she just saw how totally into it I was. Like, I was just like a super excited idiot child. I was just like, oh yeah, this is so cool, yeah. And I had the clue, and then she gets a phone call from Inspector Lestrade. I won't go into like the full story because in case anyone wants to do it, I don't want to spoil it. But then the story carries on through there, and a few other actors kind of take you through the story, and you go through a few different scenes and locations from Sherlock Holmes, and it's so well done. The way they do it, like the set design is really clever, and how they use special effects to make it seem like you're really there, and atmospheric effects, sound effects, and the actors all really commit to it. And you think it must be pretty hard doing something like that. Like, they're doing it all day. Like, the show lasts for 15 minutes, so they do a show 15 minutes, they probably have like a 5-10 minute turnover, then they do it all over again. So it's just the sort of how dedicated they must be to be able to just do that kind of performance over and over and over again all day and have it still seem really fresh and cool and fun and exciting for the people. So yeah, I have like a lot of respect for them. They did really, really well. And it was just such a cool experience, and that was kind of my highlight of the Madame Tussauds thing. It was far more exciting to me than like the wax dummies, even though some of those are amazing. Like,
there are some that are pretty bad too.
Oh, that was exactly what I was going to say. Like, the first room you go into at Madame Tussauds is like, welcome to the A-list celebrity party. And they've got all the celebrities. And what's quite interesting is the last time I was there, they had Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie stood together, whereas now they are not. They've kind of put, like, separated them out.
Yeah, Madame Tussauds follows all the latest celeb relationship news.
But they had like a Helen Mirren there and a Patrick Stewart, and they looked exactly like them. Like, we were looking at these models saying, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if he moved right now and it was him, because it looked exactly like him. But then they also had a Tom Hanks who looked like he had scurvy. Like, he looked distinctly unwell.
Isn't it just a weird concept? I don't know. I'm not just a fan of this, but it's a weird concept that people would go to see some famous person being replicated in whatever, in this case in Vax, and that becomes such a huge thing. Like,
it's super weird, and people were like, I didn't do this, like, I didn't take any pictures apart from of Kong.
Yeah.
Because it was cool.
No, but we went there on a school trip, I don't know, maybe over 7 years ago now. I mean, I don't know, I was like 14 back then, so more than 7 years. Say 10 or 11 or 12. Anyway, and we were on the school trip. As part of the school trip was Madame Tussauds experience. And I've been to London before, and I've been to London after that, and we never bothered going there because just looking at the Vax statues of famous people was just not something we were into. But I just remember, like, all of us as kids running around and everyone's taking pictures, like, oh, take a picture of me with this person, take a picture of me with this person. Now, I didn't understand then, and I don't understand now. Why is this such a big deal?
I don't either. To be honest, I don't fully understand it. Like, you know, that didn't really interest me so much. I mean, you can admire the artistry in it. Like, they're really good, some of these models. Like, they're very, very accurate. And it is kind of fun and cool and stuff to just, like, you know, walk around and look at these and kind of say, oh, that looks a bit like him, or that looks nothing like him, kind of thing. But yeah, people were taking their own pictures with the people, like doing selfies with Kim Kardashian and stuff. And I'm like, this is weird.
But to be honest, when you said, you know, King Kong animatronic head, I was more excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
That's way cooler.
That's what made me want to go. I was like, yeah, we're doing it. They've got a giant animatronic head of Kong. It's cool. So that was kind of fun. And then after the Sherlock thing, there's a few other sort of exhibition things. Like, there's a Spirit of London thing, which is like an animatronic trip through London through the ages, which is kind of fine. It's just like a little interactive ride sort of thing. There's a 4D Marvel superhero thing, cinema thing, which is quite cool. You know, it's one of those things where they spray water at you and blow air in your face and poke you with the chair and stuff.
The seats move.
Yeah, it was cool. I'd not actually done one of those before, so it was kind of fun. But I'm not the hugest fan of 3D. It upsets my brain. But this was kind of okay because it was just short.
I don't know if you've been there, but Julia, my friend from Cookies and Booze, she said she actually watched the Alien movie in 4D.
Yeah,
I didn't even know you could go watch movies on 4D.
Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy that. I'd just be constantly worrying about something happening and poking at me, and I just want to watch the film, you know?
Like, what?
The fourth time I saw Star Wars Force Awakens, it was in 4DX.
All right.
Yeah.
And Star Wars, something like Star Wars Experience.
Oh, right.
Which is the same cinema that Julia went to, I think the one in Milton Keynes, which is the only major one in the London area. Which it isn't in London, obviously. But yeah, I think something massive and fun like Star Wars is great fun for this.
Yeah.
Because you're in spaceships going up and down and around, and then there's water flying out, and then then they like make it cold because that bit of the snow at the end.
Yeah.
And do they do the scent?
No, they didn't have that, but it was like a Marvel superhero thing, and so it was just like a CG animated thing where you had like Iron Man, the Hulk, Wolverine, and someone else, like a Spider-Man.
Please tell me when the Hulk came on screen, somebody went, "I know him! He's a friend from work!"
Oh, I wish I should have said that.
You should have said that.
Now I just missed out, yeah. But no, nobody did. But it was kind of cool, and it was fine. Like, it wasn't like the highlight of the trip for me, but it was quite well done, and yeah, it was enjoyable. And people in the crowd were really loving it, so I think kids would certainly enjoy that. So then after that, you go to the last bit of Madame Tussauds before you get to the shop, which is Star Wars, right? Now this bit's cool. What's the Star Wars?
Yeah, what's that?
It's a Star Wars. So it's just like wax dummies essentially, but they're done in quite a clever way and set up as if they're in their scenes from the films. So you have Princess Leia and Jabba the Hutt together, and you have Yoda,
of course, that one.
You have. Of course. If they were going to pick a Princess Leia scene, of course that's what they were going to pick. They have Darth Vader set up.
Is that actually in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, it would have been nice to maybe have Leia not when she's in the bikini, perhaps, but is that the iconic.
Only Leia that's in there?
It is, yeah.
You kidding me?
See, my favorite Leia is from Empire Strikes Back. I just like her jumpsuit. I think it's
mine
so
is
cute.
Return of the Jedi. I love her in Jedi. She's amazing in that.
Yeah,
she's so cool when she's on the speeder. But yeah, so anyway, so they have a few of those set up. They have like the scene from Empire Strikes Back right at the end. So they have Darth Vader, and you can essentially go and stand on a thing right next to him and be like, no, do your own Luke Skywalker. And so it's pretty cool. They have the most recent model for that bit that they have is Rey and BB-8 from The Force Awakens, and I think it was when The Force Awakens was released, that was when they added this bit to the exhibition. But it's pretty cool. I mean, Star Wars is always cool, and the models are good, and it's kind of good fun. But the reason that there was another thing I wanted to talk about with Madame Tussauds, and that's something that they're currently installing for summer. And I don't know if anyone remembers from way back in the 90s. Alex, you probably don't remember. And James, you're super young, aren't you? So you probably don't remember this either.
Yeah, I'm only 20.
But there was you won't remember this. There was a thing that they had in London under the Trocadero called Alien War. And what it was, I never went to it because I was too young. I was only a young in my early teens when this was on. But it was a live action alien experience modelled around the film Aliens. And it was apparently incredible. A friend of mine at work was telling me about it today. He's a friend from work. And he said it was just super creepy and really well done. And you'd like walk in, and underneath there were all like alien eggs, and then there'd be actual aliens would come out and grab people. So they had like...
Yes, this is everything I want. Yes.
Yeah, it was apparently it was awesome. They had like actors pretending to be just regular members of the public, and they'd get grabbed by an alien at some point. So you'd be like, "Oh my god, that was one of us!" And so people would be playing the Marines, and it was apparently this really cool interactive live alien experience. It was opened by Sigourney Weaver herself. Like, she came and opened it and did all the thing. It closed down, like, I think in 1996 or something like that, because there was a flood and they never reopened it.
And it definitely wasn't because of Alien 3?
No, it was actually, Alien 3 came out before that.
Okay. So it's a joke because Alien 3 is not that good.
Alien 3 is okay. It's the fourth best Alien film.
Let's not get into arguments.
Let's not go down that road. But the reason I bring up Alien War is because it looks, from what I've managed to gather from a little bit of Madame Tussauds advertising I've seen and a few other bits and pieces I've kind of scoured off the internet, is that they're doing something that's going to be quite similar to that. but at Madame Tussauds. So there was a video they put out on the site today called Meet Walter, where they're essentially showing through some close-up shots and stuff, they're manufacturing a really detailed figure of Walter, the android from Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of all ties together with what I think they're going to market as a new version of this kind of alien war thing. And it all seems completely official with 20th Century Fox. So I'm fingers crossed it's going to be another interactive live reality experience like Alien War, because that, if they could do that and do it as well as they've done the Sherlock Holmes thing and stuff like that, that would be amazing. Go on.
Sorry, I was just saying, I've just looked this up and I've seen the name is Alien Escape.
Yeah, exactly. They've called it Alien Escape, yeah.
Do you think it might be an escape room?
It could be, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're ticking the boxes of a kind of interactive scare experience kind of thing.
I mean, that would be perfect, wouldn't it? You have to escape the room while you think that the alien is chasing you. What is more perfect than that?
It would be amazing. Can you imagine, like, you're in a room and you're with people and actors and stuff and you've got to escape and there's aliens going to come through and there could be face hugger effects. Oh, it would be so good. Yeah. If they could do it right, it would be an incredible experience. So I've signed up to the mailing list, so I'll hopefully get information as and when. But and that's this summer that it's apparently going to open.
Wow.
So I shall watch that space and see what happens. But yeah, it's exciting times. But yeah, so... You know, anyone who's kind of thinking that Madame Tussauds is all a bit and just kind of silly wax dummies, there's actually a bit more going on there now, and it's kind of worth checking out.
There's definitely more going on than the last time I was there, so I'm more tempted to actually revisit.
I think they cottoned on to the fact that just having fake versions of real people isn't good enough.
Mm.
Especially not when you see how much it costs. Like, it's expensive.
Oh, it's unreasonable.
It's £35 for just one person, right, one adult. So unless you've got like a multi-pass or a buy one get one free thing, which is what we had a buy one get one free ticket, then that's a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't, wax dummies aren't enough. You've got to add a bit more entertainment value and make people feel like, you know, they're actually kind of getting value for money. And it looks like they're onto that and they're doing more things. And this Alien Escape thing has certainly got me pretty excited. So I'll be keen to head back and check it out. I mean, what we should do, Alex, for sure, is get a few of the London peoples together and do it if it happens.
I'll be up to that. I mean, to be honest, we're not sure if it's an escape the room thing, but I wanted to do an escape room for ages, and we've just never managed to get either a group of people or a time to find out, but I'll just be so behind doing that as well.
Yeah, I'd definitely be keen. So yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. So yeah, Madame Tussauds, check it out, or wait until the alien thing opens and check it out then.
Yeah, who would have thunk?
Yeah, who'd have thunk it?
I just want to say one more thing on Madame Tussauds, because I get if you're coming to London, it's a cool thing, fair enough, tourist, whatever. If you live in London...
Yes.
If you live in London and just go to popular places, after a while, you will just meet celebrities. So why bother going to Madame Tussauds?
I don't know. I mean... You know, for the other things, like the Sherlock Holmes thing, maybe.
Oh, fair
you know,
enough,
it's a weird perspective, and I'm saying as a person who's an outsider who visited London as a tourist on 2 free occasions before actually moving and settling in. I think the London you see as a tourist versus the London as you see as a person who's actually living in the city is completely different. Like, places and routes don't cross. As a tourist, I visited all this... walking past Big Ben every day. As a person who actually lived and worked in London, I've never went anywhere where I went as a tourist. I've just saw 2 different sides of the city completely.
Yeah. I think that's fair. That's, you know, when you come to London as a tourist, you've got certain things that you want to tick off and do and stuff. I've been to London so many times. Like, I've never had the fortune to live there, but, you know, there are certain things that you kind of think, yeah, I've been there, done that.
And oh, the great fortune that would be, Joe.
Aye, wouldn't it just? It would be amazing. But alas, it is out of my reach at this moment. And probably not very convenient for work.
No, probably not.
Maybe one day, who knows. But yeah, so, I totally agree. agree that there's I think it's the same for all major cities, is there's always going to be like the tourist side and then the actual working side of the city.
I don't know, having lived in Moscow, I would disagree with that a little bit, but
yeah.
Hey,
let's
not get into the.
Yeah.
Let's
anyway.
not make this a tourist podcast. Why don't we?
No. No. Moving on.
Moving on to my topic, which is a bit weird this week, mainly because I am in my hell month, which means I do pretty much nothing but uni work. So I've talked about this before, but because of the nature of the work that I do, I get to sit in front of my computer screen for a very long time. And to keep me just about sane, I usually watch TV shows. And the TV shows that I watch fit the description, something that is entertaining enough for me not to fall asleep, but not so entertaining that I have to stop working. So, for example, Jane the Virgin that I discussed maybe a couple of episodes ago fits that description perfectly. Kind of a very fun TV show that I can keep up without having to pay 100% attention to. The other way of doing these things is watching something that I've already watched before, which is why we're coming back to this topic. Because, so, while I'm working, I'm rewatching Lost. It's easy, it's entertaining. I've never rewatched it, I think. I'm not even sure if I've seen all of it beyond the first.
I watched the first series and then gave up on it.
I don't think people who've seen the whole thing think they've seen all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched that first series and when it ended how it did, I was like, I can see where this is going to go. No. And I just dropped out and I was like, I'm not watching any more of that.
Fair enough. But along Lost, I'm also watching something I'm really into. And having a lot of the TV shows that I was watching, and that's a series, that's an hour in the day where I will sit in front of a screen and dedicate my whole attention to that TV series without, going to my phone or doing something else in the background. That is, that's an hour of my dedicated attention, which before used to be The Expanse or The Good Fight and so on, but now they're all finished. But luckily, I have The American's Gods, which in my opinion is the best thing on television right now.
I agree.
It is so good.
It's easily the best thing on TV right now.
It is absolutely
it's
good.
Unique, innovative, and really well written, performed. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, haven't we? But yeah, I'm totally with you. It's a great, great, great show.
Yeah, but what I'm essentially leading up to is watching these two things side by side, and I mean, think back when Lost was almost revolutionary in this case. There was nothing like it. It just rocked the television world. Before Lost, the television was a bit like, there was some great TVs out there, but it's never got so much traction as it did when Lost came along. And watching it now alongside American Gods, you can't help but think that television has actually progressed so much. Because Lost, look, it's still engaging. I'm still watching it, even though I'm rewatching it and I know essentially what happens. I still like the characters, but I look at it and there are some things that just wouldn't fly with me right now. It was something that I would really pick up on. Among the things, the whole basically kind of written in young adult style, the love triangle that they have going on there with Sawyer, Kate, and Jack. Among other things, there's also other storyline elements that were great at that time, but with the quality of television that we get this time around is a bit iffy, and just the way they were filming on the completely other side of the story. I mean, seriously, Lost, sometimes I get the feeling that the cameraman was just having camera on the shoulder and filming things while jumping on the space spot. I'm like, can you just have one shot of the camera not jumping and just still shot so I can see their faces that is not moving without, some magic for, I don't know. Anyway, it's weird. But yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, I'm starting this random topic and see where you guys takes you with how the television has developed, because I absolutely think it did, and for the better, and this is why we get American Gods, which is great.
It definitely has. I fully agree. Like TV, like a lot of entertainment mediums, has evolved over time and will continue to evolve. American Gods is definitely kind of at the pinnacle of sort of TV craft at the moment. Like it's come off the back of things like Hannibal, which Brian Fuller obviously made first. But yeah, totally. I mean, you look back, if you go before Lost, you had things like the X-Files, which have undoubtedly influenced a lot of shows since. Things like Breaking Bad were influenced by shows previously. So I think it's a constantly evolving medium and will continue to be so sort of as we go on with more and more things. And what's interesting is with the rise of services like Netflix and Amazon, that's changing TV structure as well. So yeah, it's an interesting time for sure.
There's a weird turnover point, and coincidentally, it's 1999. That's what I think. If you look at all the films that came out in 1999, you look at all the so interesting, not maybe amazing, but interesting films were being made and financed with complete confidence, and none of them did amazingly well. Famously, Fight Club was a box office bomb, but there was the confidence in the studios, in the Hollywood and studio system, to make these kind of films, and that went away at the beginning of the 2000s. Annoyingly, it's because of films like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, which brought in adaptations and sequels that everyone was going to see consistently. And for some reason, because of, well, as we know what happened when people start making sequels, writers get bored, and then they move to somewhere else where people will take their writing, and that's television. So it's not a coincidence when you look at the 6 years between 1999 and 2005, you have shows like The Sopranos, The Wire, Lost, 24. Like a show like 24 being commissioned in the mid-90s, it wouldn't happen.
But also think of the trust that the TV has gained, because before, no one would invest so much money or think that they will get so much return back from a TV series. It was almost kind of like throw away for a lesser idea, some sitcom that,
I both agree and disagree. Like, I think, yes, there was definitely a time where movie studios were kind of running short on ideas. But in 99, you had films like The Matrix, which certainly kind of sort of put a bit of a kick up the backside of certain people in the film industry and sort of opened a few doors of its own. But yeah, what you kind of have now is it's more that TV isn't so much picking up the slack of the movies, because there were interesting films being made all the way through. They just weren't being as openly distributed as they are now. But with TV, what you're getting now is more respect. And it's kind of just something that's happened over time and how it's evolved. So you have directors doing both. So you have someone, for example, like Neil Marshall, who directed The Descent and a few other films like that, Dog Soldiers. He directed some key episodes of Game of Thrones. So he did the Battle of Blackwater, for example.
Yeah, so he's the one that's great with just fighting scenes in general and choreographing and sequencing them in a really fantastic way. And the Battle of Blackwater, and then the fight in the Black Castle, I don't remember what the official name for it is, and then further on the Battle of the Bastards and all of that. He's done that.
So it's more that I think now TV has become a more respectable place for movie directors to work as well. So Neil Marshall's still making movies, but he's just also doing TV at the same time.
And he's getting
it's kind
the same
of become
credit.
more acceptable
I think
to
this
do
is
that.
what you're getting at too. But
yes, exactly.
He's getting the same credit as Prestige as he would be doing the movies, whereas before that wasn't really the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it was not as common back then. Like, I know that there were a few key guest directors for The X-Files and things like that. And famously, Vince Gilligan, who created Breaking Bad, he cut his teeth on The X-Files. That's where he got his break. So it's kind of, I think, it's just something that has been happening over time, and now it's just become more common. It's a great thing. Like, there's some quality directors out there, and we're getting some unique sort of approaches to TV because of that, because we're getting these, directors that have honed their cinematic skills working on a small screen project. It's just, we're, getting some really, really interesting and quality things. So yeah, it's a good thing. I'm interested to see kind of where TV evolves next, I guess.
I couldn't let the famous director conversation doing television go without mentioning David Fincher in House of Cards.
Yes. Of course, yeah.
Which
but he
I
only
think
produced that, to be fair.
No, he directed I think the first 3 episodes.
Yes, you're right, yes. He produced the whole series, but just directed the openers. Yes, that's very true.
And that is an entirely different conversation of the House of Cards changing the game in terms of moving things from television in the living room to television on your laptop.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, streaming changed television so much more. Think of all the good and arguably even bad things that Netflix is bringing into it. And obviously American Gods is on Amazon Prime. I mean, it was... I think it actually was one of the challenges of the show, and they were really relieved because it's airing on Stars in America. And when Amazon came back and were like, look, we're happy to redistribute this to the rest of the world, they went, yes, this is amazing. This is great.
It gave them a bit more leeway to make the show they wanted to make.
Exactly.
You know, I talked before when we were talking about American Gods previously about how Hannibal had a bit of a tough time, but in reality, the studio were very supportive of it and let Brian Fuller make the show he wanted to make. And it was just unfortunate that not enough people watched it legally, and that's kind of why Hannibal got eventually cancelled. But it's great to see that with American Gods, studios like Stars are still willing to take risks on what could be potentially quite challenging material. Like obviously the most recent episode of American Gods, which is absolutely superb, stunning episode.
Such a good
had
episode.
Some scenes in it that are going to be controversial for certain people. And that it's good that it's being made and that there are studios out there who aren't going to shy away from that.
I just realised there's something that we haven't even talked about. We won't make this a full discussion, but the Witcher TV series on Netflix.
Yeah,
that's true. That's going to be a thing, and we're getting Dread, and they're talking to Carl Urban about playing Dread, which is very exciting. It's being made by Rebellion, which is even more exciting.
The thing about Dread, it's not Carl Urban that made that film. It was Alex Garland. Okay.
Yes, of course, yeah.
I have a lot of love for Alex Garland, actually. Ever since Ex Machina, I have a lot of love for that man.
Since 28 Days Later, which he wrote.
Oh, that is true.
Alex Garland is a major talent for 100%. Yeah. And the cinematography in Dread is second to none. It's fantastic. But I do feel that without that key
Carl Urban
portrayed,
was a key part, but I don't think if it was just him from the creative team working on the show, I would be cautious.
Well, it's not so much that it's just him from the creative team, it's more that he's happy. So, I mean, obviously they're in talks and stuff right now, so nothing is confirmed. But the fact that he's willing to consider it as a TV show, considering how closely he's kind of guarded the character, because he's always said that the character means a lot to him and he was really proud to play it, and that he'd only continue playing it if it was done in the right way, you know, like never taking off the helmet and all this kind of thing. So I think the fact that he's interested in it and is having these talks bodes well, and I think the team behind it have the potential to do something very good. So it's interesting. I want to see Judge Death. I want to see them portray Judge Death, basically.
Well, there you go. TV's pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty
good.
A bit of telly. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, there's some horrible TV out there, but let's not focus
there's drivel.
Oh,
there's so much crap. Yeah. I caught an episode by accident of The Hills the other day. It made me die inside. I just caught like 5 minutes while I was switching between things. I was like, this is dreadful.
But also,
dreadful.
Let's remember that Ricky Whittle started on Hollyoaks, and now he's an American Gods.
See? Greatness can stem from weird beginnings.
Yes.
I still can't get over that. Every time I watch that show, you know, I'll be like sucked into the brilliance of American Gods, and then it will just hit me. Hollyoaks.
well, if you look at every like English actor, but who was starred in a film before 2007, they were all in the bill at one point.
Yeah.
I'm so glad right now I've not watched Hollyoaks ever, because that does not upset my watching of American Gods whatsoever.
I remember that there were 2 weeks that I watched Hollyoaks, because there was a character with schizophrenia that really interested me, like the way that they were doing it, and in, like, even just the way they shot it was really quite well made television. And it got to the end of the story, his 2-week story arc. It was him by a reservoir looking in and seeing his dead girlfriend, and like she was saying, "No, come in, it's fine." And then, of course, his friends come and grab him just before he submerges himself, and he's shouting, "Ray! Ray! Ray!" And then the credits start rolling as he's shouting, and I thought, oh, this is great. And then he, like, calms down and stops for, like, 10 seconds. Credits keep going. Ray! Ray! It starts up again. I thought, oh, well, there we go, you've Hollyoaksed it. Okay.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is, Lost is quite interesting thing to watch nowadays, knowing what the TV is right now, and everyone should absolutely watch American Gods on Amazon Prime. It is a great show. Get over not understanding what it is about in the first episode.
Just go with it.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Just go with the awesomeness that is American Gods, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it later because I can't wait to finish this season and just talk about it in like crazy spoilerific detail.
I think it's only like 8 episodes or something,
it's
right?
Not huge.
It's not enough.
No.
It's not enough.
No, it is.
No, it's funny thing because I heard the rumors where it's gonna end. And I'm reading the book as well, and the book is about, well, when I say I'm reading, I'm listening to the audiobook, which is,
It's a pretty big book.
Yeah, it's a thick book. It's narrated by Neil Gaiman himself, who's obviously the author, but it also has other voice casts that contribute to the book. And the book is about 15 hours in, and I've listened to maybe 3, maybe 4 hours, and if rumors are true, I've already reached the point where season 1 ends. And I was like, that's interesting.
I just want more. I just want it to never end.
Oh, it is so great. But going from something really great to apparently something not great at all. James.
Yes, King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. Because they are 2 different things, and I would much rather watch the story of the Legend of the Sword.
Has there ever been a good King Arthur movie, though? I remember the other one with Keira Knightley, which was garbage, too.
I think that was okay. That movie was... The director's cut is better. Because it was Antoine Fuqua who did Training Day. He was the director of that version of King Arthur. And his director's cut of it is actually kind of all right. It's got some interesting things in it. It's not so bad. But yeah, it's not what I'd call great.
And then he became a lord in Shrek.
This is... true.
Lord Farquhar.
Weird. Yeah. It took me a minute to think what you were talking about then.
Anyway, tell us about this King Arthur.
I'd rather not, but I'm going to anyway.
Well, you have to warn our listeners not to watch it.
King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. You know how you think a film's going to be really bad, and then just before the title screen comes on, you go, I'm kidding myself. It's probably going to be fine. No, it's really that bad. This is one of the worst films I've seen it is the worst film I've seen all year that I'm legally allowed to talk about, because that's coming up in a couple of weeks and I can't wait. You all know what it is. I'm still not going to say. Okay, so Guy Ritchie is back after an absence from making average Sherlock Holmes films. Uh-huh. We can all agree they were pretty average.
Yeah, the first one was okay.
I beg your pardon. He made The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and that was okay.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but
the first Holmes film was alright.
Yeah.
But the sequel, not so much.
Okay, I'm tempted to try and go through the plot, but I might die if I do. So, I'll just briefly backstory. Wizards, mages, bad, for some reason.
So, that's actually happened? So, the magic is a real thing in this movie. So, this is like a retelling of the Arthur and the circular table and the knights and whatever. Is that this retelling of a story?
No, it's not. It's how Arthur becomes king. It's how Arthur becomes king, because apparently Arthur had an uncle called Vortigern, which is a stupid name, and he's played by Jude Law, which is the only good thing in this film.
I bet he chews it up good and proper.
Oh, there's a lot of chewing. It's great. Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy is Arthur. Actually, you know what? We'll get to Charlie Hunnam. Let's go back. Let's go back to the war before Uther Pendragon died. So, Mordred, who is a mage who was taught by Merlin, is seeking war on everyone who's not a magic user and supports magic. And through a lot of fighting, Camelot is very nearly taken, but the only major casualty is Uther, Arthur's father, who has Excalibur at this point. And then he's dead for some reason. We see that Vortigern killed his wife. Oh, side note, this is something that really confused me. Do you guys remember that Merlin TV series on BBC?
Which was great, by the way. Was it Sam Neill?
Which was really good. No, not Sam Neill. Anthony Head, Giles from Buffy.
Yes.
He was Uther. Anyway, so...
Different one, I guess.
The woman who played Morgana in Merlin, the bad wizard, she's in this film at the very beginning as a completely different character.
That's a bit
which
weird.
It really confused me. So she plays Arthur's aunt, who it dies right at the beginning. I don't care that I'm spoiling this film. I just don't care. It's so bad.
It feels like you're doing people a favour, so they don't actually have to go and watch it.
So she's killed by Vortigern, so Vortigern can get some power. So it's heavily implied that he is the reason that Uther is dead, because it's so obvious. And then, so we cut forward a bunch of years. Arthur's been sent away to Londinium, because Guy Ritchie can't make a film without involving London at some point. I think this is a rule of his. And he's raised in a brothel, and they call him Arthur.
Course.
They call him Arthur. That's the important thing. And then so then it becomes Guy Ritchie in London with his friends going up and getting some money.
Please tell me that Vinnie Jones isn't in it.
Vinnie Jones isn't, but David Beckham is.
What? Oh my god! Why?
I'm not kidding. David Beckham is in the film for literally about 30 seconds.
Okay, that makes it slightly better, but still.
Okay. But literally, it's to the point where they come on screen and, it's David Beckham. Oh, goodbye. I don't want to go through the whole thing. It's just, it makes me sad.
Yeah, it's so confusing. It's hurting me already, and I didn't even have to watch it.
Here's the thing, right? I'm a film critic. I see a lot of films. There are some times where I have to see 4 films in a day.
Mm.
And I've got to the point where I can just watch films and I'm fine. I very rarely fall asleep in things. You can tell by the way I said that. I was 100% asleep in this. I saw this at 1 o'clock. I had just eaten, I was full of energy, and I sat down, watched this film, halfway through, nodded off for about a minute or two. Someone, my friend nudges me and goes, you missed a bit, and I go, did it matter? And he went, no. Okay, then.
So it's kind of like, it sounds like it's just not fun at
No,
all.
it's not good. There's nothing good about it. Charlie Hunnam is okay. He's charismatic enough.
He apparently thinks he's going to be the next James Bond. I read a little thing where he'd said that he'd be a great James Bond, and I was like, no. I don't think so.
There's just, everything's bad about it. The only good thing about it, the music by Daniel Pemberton. He did the music for Steve Jobs, the biopic done by Danny Boyle a few years ago. And the music in this is actually pretty good. If you had it on in the background of a video game, of an action scene, it'd be fantastic. But everyone is... For a movie that costs $175 million, which, by the way, in its first weekend in America made $15 million...
Yeah, it's going to crash. Like, they've already accepted that it's going to tank massively.
I'm so happy that it is. I hate hoping for things to fail, but I want the idea of bad, over-budgeted Hollywood films to die. I just want them
to stop letting Guy Ritchie make movies.
No, let him make movies, but give him $20 million and see what he can do. He is a talented filmmaker. He actually is, and he can do really good work. Look at Snatch. Snatch is fun and good and interesting. And it's got good actors with good music, and the pacing's good. But this is just a bloated mess. I would rather sit through and watch the Hobbit trilogy 3 times than watch this film again.
See, now I like the Hobbit movies.
Oh, Joe.
You're wrong, Joe.
I know, they're not
we
like...
might get in a fight
of course. They're not in the same league as Lord of the Rings. Of course they're not.
I will say,
I find them kind of entertaining and nice. And, there's the dude who's got a rabbit chariot. Yeah. That makes me happy.
Radagast, or whatever his name is.
There's one good thing about this film that I actually quite like, is that all of the supporting characters have had basically no careers before this. It's basically an entire cast of unknowns, apart from select few. And that's really fun. I really like that Guy Ritchie did that. It's a fair play, man. But the people that he cast are not very good. So with one hand I give, and with the other I taketh away. There's one character called the Mage. That's all she's called. And her name is Astrid Burgess Frisbee.
That's her real name?
That's her real name. I think she's French.
Poor child.
That's an amazing name, though. That's yeah.
Yeah,
she should be like an artist or something.
She's not French, she's Spanish, I beg your pardon. And she's... now I get it. I'm just looking. She was the mermaid in Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Oh.
And now she's a mage in this. And she's as charismatic. She said every single line delivery by her is done like this. You're the king. You must save everyone.
See, now, Pirates of the Caribbean 4, that was dreadful.
Yeah, the mage is really bad in the film. Aidan Gillen pops up for a while. Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. It's just...
he's a good actor. He was great in Queer as Folk, and he's great in Game of Thrones.
And The
He doesn't
Wire.
need to be doing rubbish like this.
This film's terrible.
Ah, see, I knew it would be terrible.
It just makes me sad that it's bad, because I'm getting... I don't have the strength to get angry at it, because it's just bad.
To be fair, look, I'm in this mindset nowadays that every time someone brings up another remake, another reboot of something, another retelling of a story that we've heard 3,000 times before, it usually ends up bad. Let's be honest about it. The Mummy that's coming up,
that looks appalling. That does look dreadful.
that is the worst idea ever, and I'm not watching that.
But I'll tell you something.
What?
I want to know how Tom Cruise survived that plane crash.
It's because he's Tom Cruise. He just smiled at the plane and it disappeared.
That movie could be the greatest action movie ever, but it is forever ruined for me because of that absolutely wonderful IMAX trailer that was released with the missing sound. So I cannot watch that scene of him crashing in that plane without thinking of that trailer. Do you remember that they released? It was released by accident. It was an IMAX trailer where they'd only put half of the sound effects on it. At one point, when the plane is crashing, like in the trailer, all you can hear is Tom Cruise screaming and none of the other sound effects. And it is absolutely hilarious. It's just...
That sounds actually quite intense.
It was funny. The thing is, it's funny because it's little Tom Cruise going, ah, ah,
okay.
ah. And apologies to whoever is editing this, because you just got me screaming for a moment. But yeah, that it was just absolutely hilarious. So now every time I see anything from that scene on, in a trailer or something, I laugh. So that movie's pretty much ruined for me already. But it does look utterly dreadful.
I know, but that's my point. Is now something that excites me, something that I have no idea about. If it's a story or a sequel to something or another one of those things, I'm not interested. I mean, the exception, I guess, to it is Marvel movies and superhero movies that I'll watch about because I'm a Marvel addict and I'm fitting that stereotype. Yes, I know I am. Fine. But what I'm saying is something that is called King Arthur, I immediately go, well, that's going to be garbage, because how many King Arthur's movies did we have before that? Were any of them good? Nope. Is this one going to be good?
Sword in the Stone.
Nope.
Sword in the Stone. Yes. Sword in the Stone.
Yes.
But that was Disney.
Yeah. And that's actually considered one of the worst Disney films, to which I say nonsense. It's great.
Yeah. Anyway, so long story short, King Arthur, bad film.
Bad film, don't watch it. Save yourself.
I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah, do anything else. Go.
Is it even like so bad it's good in a way, or is it just so bad it's bad?
No, terrible film. Bad film.
Right.
Boring.
Fair enough.
Sleep-inducing. Well made. That's the thing that annoys me.
Yeah.
Like all the technical aspects of it, all the costumes, all the visual effects.
That's where the money went.
The music, and it's not enough.
That just shows you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the figures, and they spent $135 million marketing this film.
It worked out really well for them, didn't it?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, dear.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, I think, guys, we're just about out of time. And as we're finishing on kind of a sad note, I'm going to say, don't watch King Arthur, watch American Gods instead. Just so we're finished on
I second that.
Yeah.
On the
Go do that.
uplifting note.
Or iZombie. iZombie's back.
Yes.
That's right.
Or
iZombie is cool.
iZombie is cool.
Yeah, there's still plenty of good things to watch.
Yes.
You don't need to waste your time with King Arthur.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a few shout-outs to do. Not many, but we have some. So apparently we're saying hello to Jason Isaacs. Why are we...
Hello to Jason Isaacs.
James, why are we saying
Jason Isaacs.
hello to Jason Isaacs? I mean, I love Jason Isaacs forever, but I don't think he's listening to the show.
Because
he
sometimes...
might be. You don't know.
Because sometimes you just need to say hello to Jason Isaacs.
Hi, Jason Isaacs. I love you. You're great at everything you do. Just in case you're listening to the show, you're so good, and I love everything you do. I think I said that already, but I'm a bit geeking out because you're Jason Isaacs, and you might be listening to the show or might not be listening to the show. But anyway, you're wonderful. Anyway, other people on the forums. Joe, say things.
Yes, so say hello to Stealthy Joe and Stingo.
And on Twitter, James.
Richard Kirk at Richard Kirk. And Will Driver at WillDriver93.
That is right. Guys, if you would like a shout out, or if you'd like to speak to us, ask us a question, tell us what we're doing wrong or right with life, contribute to topic of the show, something you want us to discuss, and you're like, hey, I'm super geeky about this thing, can you guys talk about it? Yes, we can, let us know. You can do so on the forums at BigRedBarel.com. You can do so on a Twitter at BigRedBarel using hashtag Geek Speak. It makes it easier for us to find your tweet. Speaking of that, on Twitter you can speak to us directly. I'm at DustyTulip_.
I'm at Pixel Ritual.
And I'm at James_S Wilson. Or you can go to ticgn.com and check the film review section.
Woohoo!
Correct. Why I'm saying correct, like you could have gotten it wrong, I don't know. It's a bad habit. You can also speak to us on Facebook, facebook.com/BigRedBarel.com. You can also leave a comment on YouTube because our episodes post on YouTube as well. Because I actually know a couple of YouTube listeners and they're wonderful. Yep.
The thing is, on the YouTube, you don't get the bit at the end with the man going, "You're listening to the biggest, reddest site on the internet," which I love that.
Aww.
Really, we don't get it. That's weird. Because we probably get the different ending. Huh.
Yeah, because the ending goes, "You were listening to a podcast." And it doesn't matter.
Oh.
That was just an excuse for me to do my announcer voice. I just like doing it.
Good. You should, pitch someone else to do announcer voice for someone. Make a career out of it or something. Also, if you leave us a review on iTunes, we would absolutely love you forever because that is a thing that helps us climb through the charts, and iTunes thinks, I can't believe how relevant it is, but apparently it's still relevant and people just look at stuff for iTunes and that's how they choose podcasts. Weird, but true.
I would like to give a disclaimer. Promises of unconditional love will not be met by everyone.
Yes. I agree.
Well.
We'll love you from a distance.
Yeah.
Yes. It's fine. Only I will be inappropriately close, weird, and lovey-dovey with you.
We love you enough to ask the question, are you really small or far away?
So I went through forums, YouTube, Twitter. I think I'm done with that section. On to Tabletop Tuesday, which happens every Tuesday in Loading Bar in Dalston, London, where we have an event where we play video games. And every week there is a new board game.
I was going to say, you said video games.
Yeah, you absolutely said video games.
I confused myself there. I was like, I was speaking, I was like, did I just say video games? I didn't say video games. No, I said video games. No, I didn't.
It's because you're thinking about
Damn
Overwatch.
It. I know, I am thinking about Overwatch. I might go play it afterwards. What I was saying is an event where we play board games. I mean, you can play video games. There are consoles and arcade machines in the bar, but we specifically, on that Tuesday, play board games, and we bring a new board game every week, and if you play that board game on the night, you have a chance to win it at 10:30 that evening. I have a promise right now that apparently the month of June is going to have some really, really awesome board games. I will not tease you one of them, but one of them is very mysterious. Ooh. Is all I'm going to say about that.
Is it Cluedo?
Ooh. Is it Mysterium?
Dun 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 dun! Dun, dun, dun! Which one was right? I don't know.
Cool.
I mean, I do know, but I won't tell you.
I remember you gave Doom away quite recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
Doom was a great epic. Yeah.
Doom was awesome. Join us for Tabletop Tuesday. It's a really great night. Other than that, just a quick reminder that me and my friend Julia do this really cookie show called Cookies and Booze on twitch.com /Cookies and Booze, surprisingly, where we play video games badly while drinking wine, and currently we're still playing Resident Evil 7, which is surprisingly for me because I'm terrified of everything, but somehow I've survived this game and I'm really, really loving it. But it's Resident Evil 7 and it's great, and we're still playing it, and it'll be back the first Sunday in June, I believe that is correct, so that's when we'll be back playing it. And I think that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. So for episode 90, goodness gracious, we're so close to 100, of Geek Speak, I have been Alex and Buds.
Buds. I've been thinking about aliens far too much again.
I've been listening to far too much Radiohead again.
Oh my.
And James.
Fair enough. And we bid you goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
But...
You and your ears are quite welcome
for the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.